They thought humans were weak, primitive, playthings for their psionic games. Until the Vexen Empress melted our diplomat's mind live on Galactic broadcast. She smiled. She thought she'd broken us. But all she did was light the match. Now we're coming, and the stars will run red with regret. Welcome to humanity's last laugh, and your final mistake. They killed him. They didn't just kill him, they made a show of it. Across every galactic channel, the Vexen Empress stood tall, draped in shimmering robes of psionic light, her hands raised as Ambassador Vaz screamed. He didn't beg. He didn't flinch. His eyes met the camera, steady, as his mind was peeled apart layer by layer. Then he was gone. Dust. Silence. Commander Dorian Creed watched from Earth's citadel, jaw tight, fists clenched. Around him, silence. Officers shifted uncomfortably, but no one spoke. They didn't need to. Voss wasn't just a diplomat, he was Earth's voice. The one who believed in peace when no one else did. Creed had sworn to protect him. Now all he had was Voss's ashes, and a galaxy that thought humans wouldn't strike back. He stood, eyes cold. Get me the War Council. But Commander. Now. The council convened in minutes, faces grim, holograms flickering with system reports. Some urged caution. Some wanted negotiation. Creed didn't listen. He stepped to the center, a thin smile playing at his lips. They wanted to send a message? Fine. Let's send one back. Activate Project Hell Dream. A ripple of shock. That protocol is forbidden. Not anymore. He turned, already walking. I'm done talking. The broadcast went live within the hour. Creed stood before the galaxy, armored, scarred, every inch the soldier they had once feared. You took one of ours, he said, voice hard as iron. You thought we'd kneel. You thought wrong. He lifted a small urn, Vasa's name etched in bold letters. This man stood for peace. You shattered that. Now we stand for war. He paused, letting the silence stretch. And we do war better than anyone. Transmission cut. The Vexen Empire laughed. Of course they did. They called humans primitive, fragile, predictable. Their fleets mobilized slowly, sure that the Terran Accord wouldn't dare challenge them openly. Creed didn't wait. Hours later, the Spear of Babylon fired. A weapon long thought myth, a kinetic rod the size of a skyscraper, launched from the edge of a black hole. It slammed into the Vexen colony of Rythus Prime. One moment, bustling cities, spiraling towers. The next, a crater glowing with the heat of a newborn star. No warnings. No demands. Just destruction. Vexen outposts scrambled. Panic swept their outer systems. And still, Creed advanced. He stood aboard the bridge of the Iron Revenant, Earth's flagship, eyes fixed on the next target. Status on the mimic mines? Loaded and ready, sir. Deploy them. Moments later, Vexen patrols encountered the mines, small, floating orbs that mimicked their own voices. The first squad laughed. Until the mines repeated their last words back in a twisted tone. Cowards! Weaklings! You'll never! Boom! Entire squadrons vanished. Creed leaned forward, a grin pulling at the edge of his mouth. Let's see how they like hearing their own words used against them. The Vexens retaliated, hurling psionic storms through space, minds bending, twisting. But Earth had come prepared. The neurosilence fields activated, nullifying their powers, trapping their leaders in loops of their own thoughts. Creed walked among the chaos, his warhammer, the Fist of Terra, strapped to his back. Every planet he stepped on burned with purpose. He didn't gloat. He didn't boast. He just moved, relentless, cold. At night, he replayed Vasa's final message. A simple one. If they kill me, make sure it means something. Creed was making sure. He sat with his officers one evening, war maps glowing, battles raging in the distance. We hit them harder than they've ever been hit, one said. But they'll keep coming. Creed nodded. Then we hit harder. A pause. Then he added, Voss believed in peace. So did I. But peace requires respect. And they've forgotten who we are. What about the other systems? The neutrals? They'll choose sides soon enough. Fear's a good motivator. Silence settled. The galaxy was watching. The question wasn't whether humanity could win. It was whether they'd stop. Creed had no intention of stopping. A new alert blinked on the screen. Vexen High Command, issuing a statement. Creed played it. The Empress's face appeared, haughty, smug. You've proven stubborn, Commander. But your efforts are futile. You will break, as all others have. Creed smiled, eyes hard. He recorded his reply instantly. You think we're like the others you've crushed. But we're not. We don't break. We shatter, explode, and take you down with us. He leaned closer to the camera. Keep watching. We're just getting started. Transmission sent. He stood, the next target already locked. Prepare the juggernauts, he ordered. The ground would shake. The sky would fall. And the Vexens would finally learn what it meant to provoke the species that made war an art form. Creed tightened his grip on the fist of Terra, gaze unflinching. Let's make them regret. The hum of the war room was steady, a dull vibration beneath Commander Dorian Creed's boots. He stared at the holographic display of the Vexen Empire's outer territories, eyes fixed, mind sharp. His voice cut through the tension like a blade. We're moving on Telros Station next. No survivors. A junior officer hesitated. Commander, Telros is a civilian hub. Creed didn't blink. They watched Voss die and cheered. They forfeited mercy. The officer nodded, understanding what it meant to serve under Creed. Humanity didn't just fight for victory. They fought for memory, for every scar they'd been given, for every slight burned into their history. Telros was next, and Creed would make it an example. He turned to his second-in-command, Captain Marakel. Deploy the juggernauts. I want them landing within the hour. They'll hold the station. Expect resistance. I'm counting on it. As the Iron Revenant advanced through slip space, Creed stood at the helm, silent, focused. His thoughts were not on strategy. They were on impact. Telros wasn't about tactical value. It was about breaking the Vexen spirit. Prepare the war chant transmission, he ordered. A tech officer raised an eyebrow. To all channels? To every system within earshot. Soon, across Vexen space, human voices echoed, ancient words of defiance, set to the rhythm of drums and steel. We are the storm, the fire, the hammer. We remember. We endure. We strike. Telros appeared, a gleaming station orbiting a gas giant, its defenses already scrambling. Creed watched without emotion as the first juggernaut drop pods descended, fire trails carving the sky. Status? Juggernauts deployed. Resistance is heavy. Vexen forces mobilizing. Good. The bridge crew moved with precision, every order executed with purpose. Creed didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. His presence alone commanded absolute focus. Release the mimic minds, he said. Minutes later, Vexen forces within the station corridors heard their own voices twisted into mockery. Commands repeated back at them, distorted, followed by explosions. Panic spread. They had trained for everything, except this. A report came through. Juggernauts have breached the central core. Vexens are falling back. Creed nodded once. No retreat. Press forward. Captain Kell stepped closer. Sir, we're seeing non-combatants in the lower levels. They stood by when Voss died. Collateral. Her expression didn't change, but her eyes flickered with something, doubt perhaps. Creed didn't care. He had buried doubt with Voss. A new feed lit up. The Empress was speaking again, her voice calm, condescending. Creed, your crusade is a failure. Humanity cannot win against destiny. Stand down before more of your kind suffer. He chuckled softly. They still think this is about winning. He activated the reply channel. Empress, I'm not here to win. I'm here to erase you. The transmission ended. Telros erupted. Juggernauts tore through defense grids, human troops surged behind them. Vexen defenders, psionically enhanced, tried to hold the line, but the neurosilence generators silenced their minds mid-battle. They dropped, convulsing, as human boots pressed forward. Creed watched the feeds in real time, expression stone-cold. Take the core. Plant the charge. An explosion rocked the screen. Tauros' main reactor ignited, shockwaves tearing through the station's frame. Bodies, Vexen and human, spun into space. Pull our people out. As the last transport lifted off, Creed issued the final order. Detonate. From the bridge, they saw it, Tauros station splitting in half, debris scattering like ash in the void. Silence followed, deep and complete. The crew looked to Creed, waiting. He turned slowly, eyes scanning the faces around him. This is how they learn. He walked to his quarters, the weight of command never leaving his shoulders. Alone, he played Vasa's last message again. They'll come for you when I'm gone. Not because they think you're wrong. Because they fear you're right. He shut it off, sitting in the dark. A knock. Captain Kell entered, uninvited but expected. You should see this, she said, handing him a tablet. He glanced at the data. Intercepted Vexen communications, panic, confusion, fear. Their borders were crumbling, their allies silent. Tauros had been more than a station. It had been a symbol. They're falling apart, she said. They're starting to understand. She sat across from him. How far are you willing to go? Creed didn't hesitate. As far as they made me. Silence stretched, not uncomfortable, but heavy with meaning. You're not the man I knew, Dorian. He looked up, eyes hard. The man you knew believed in peace. They killed him with Vas. Kell nodded, standing. Just don't forget who you are. He didn't respond, and she left. Creed stared at the stars beyond his window, mind already on the next strike. This wasn't revenge anymore. It was instruction. Let the galaxy remember. Let them fear. Commander, we've intercepted something, Captain Kell said, urgency cutting into the thick silence of the command deck. Dorian Creed turned, eyes sharp. Show me. The transmission flickered to life, grainy and distorted, but the voice was unmistakable. The Vexen Empress, her tone tighter now, confidence slipping. Terran Accord, we recognize the conflict has escalated beyond what was intended. We propose a ceasefire. Let us speak, end this, before both our peoples suffer further. The bridge held its breath. Creed didn't move. They want to talk, Kell pressed. It's something. No, Creed said flatly. It's nothing. She stepped closer. It could buy us time. I'm not buying time. I'm selling a message. He walked to the console, replayed the Empress's words, listening to every syllable, every forced attempt at control. Then he tapped into the broadcast relay, eyes locked on Kell. They'll know what we are before this ends. He spoke clearly, voice carrying across every system. Empress, you want peace now that your throne is cracking? You think words can shield you from what's coming? There's no treaty. No pause. There's only consequence. He cut the line. Kell said nothing. The crew resumed their tasks, the rhythm of war resuming its pulse. Status on the Helldream deployment? Creed asked. Ready. We can launch at your word. Do it. Helldream wasn't just a weapon. It was terror made real, a synthetic nightmare engineered by Earth's most dangerous minds. Creed had kept it locked away, a last resort. Now it was time. As the fleet moved toward the Vexen inner systems, the stars seemed colder, the space between them heavier. The crew of the Iron Revenant had seen war, but this was different. This was personal. Launch pattern confirmed. A tech officer reported. Target set. Execute. Helldream pods rained down on Vexen colonies, each one splitting open mid-descent, releasing neurophage mist that induced chaos in every psionic mind it touched. Vexen soldiers turned on each other, screaming in confusion, their thoughts no longer their own. Creed watched the feed's eyes narrowed. They wanted to play gods. Now they'll see what happens when gods bleed. A call came through, scrambled but urgent. It was from a Vexen commander, voice shaking. "We surrender. We surrender! Please cease!" Creed ended the call. "No!" Captain Kell stood behind him. "We've broken their front. Their defenses are collapsing. Push forward. Take the mine core." She hesitated. "You still intend to destroy it? Burn it from existence. Billions are tied to that system. Non-combatants. Collateral." Her voice lowered. "There's still a line we haven't crossed." Creed turned, stepping closer. "They crossed it the moment they killed Voss. The line doesn't exist anymore." She stared at him, but there was no reaching him now. He was set. The order stood. The fleet drove deeper into Vexen space, resistance crumbling. The mine core loomed ahead, a vast structure orbiting a dying star, pulsing with stolen thought, enslaved intelligence. It was the heart of their empire. Creed called the fleet commanders. "Surround it. I want no escape." "Understood." Missiles armed, cannons charged, Hell-Dream units prepared for the final strike. Then a new signal, from within the mine core. Not the Empress. A child's voice. "Help us!" Creed froze. The voice repeated softer. "Please!" Captain Kell stepped forward. "There are innocents in there." Creed didn't speak. She pressed. "You can end the war without this." His hands tightened into fists. The room waited. "I didn't start this for peace," Creed said slowly. "I started this to finish it." He gave the order. "Fire!" The weapons unleashed everything. The mine core shuddered, ruptured, collapsed inward. A shockwave ripped through space, the light blinding. When it faded, only silence remained. The fleet stood down. Kell looked at Creed, her voice low. "It's done." He didn't reply. He walked to the observation deck, alone. The stars were quiet. The war was over. But in his mind, Vasa's voice lingered. "Make it mean something." Creed wasn't sure what it meant anymore. "Commander, we have a situation." Kell's voice cut through the tension. Creed turned from the observation window, his mind still fixed on the ruins of the mine core. "Report. Vexen remnants have gathered near Sithra's edge. A fleet, what's left of them. They're not retreating. They're preparing something." "Preparing what?" Creed asked, stepping closer. "They've activated a failsafe. We intercepted a fragment of the transmission. They call it the Omen Protocol." Creed narrowed his eyes. "Explain." "It's not a weapon. It's a beacon. They're calling for the Zorkai." Creed paused. That name wasn't unknown to him. The Zorkai were myth to most, a specter of destruction whispered across the galaxy. They didn't conquer. They erased. Worlds, civilizations, gone, without trace. How long until the signal reaches them? Unknown. But the signal's live. They're betting everything on it. Creed's voice was ice. "Then we kill the signal. Commander, Sithra's edge is fortified. We'll take losses. Losses are acceptable." The bridge moved into action. Orders relayed, ships realigned. Creed's mind was already ahead, calculating, cutting. The war wasn't over. It never really was. Kell approached him quietly. "Dorian, this isn't just vengeance now." He didn't look at her. "It never was." As the fleet surged towards Sithra's edge, the space around them seemed darker, heavier. The remnants of the Vexen forces had gathered in desperation, but desperation made them dangerous. "Bring me visuals on their command ship," Creed ordered. The screen flared to life, showing the fractured hulk of the Vexen dreadnought, tendrils of psionic energy lashing out, the beacon glowing at its heart. "We breach, we destroy the beacon, we leave nothing standing." "Understood." The assault began with precision. Human ships punched through the outer lines, juggernauts descending once more. But this fight was different. The Vexens weren't fighting to win, they were fighting to delay. "They're stalling," Kell said, dodging debris as the Iron Revenant shook from return fire. Creed nodded, calm amidst chaos. "We won't give them time. The juggernauts hit the surface of the dreadnought like thunder, tearing through its hull. Creed led the charge, fist of Terra in hand, moving through twisted corridors lit by flickering lights and psionic flares. He reached the core chamber, the beacon pulsing with alien rhythm. A Vexen warlord stood before it, tall, gaunt, eyes blazing. "You are too late, human!" Creed didn't slow. "You should have run." The warlord struck first, psionic force slamming into Creed's chest. He staggered, but advanced, swinging the fist of Terra in a wide arc, the impact cracking the floor. Another blast hit him, searing pain ripping through his side, but he pushed forward, every step fueled by raw will. "You cannot stop destiny," the warlord hissed. "I make my own." Creed lunged, driving the warhammer into the warlord's chest, crushing bone, silencing breath. The beacon pulsed faster, light flaring. Kel's voice crackled over comms. "The signal's spiking. We need to disable it now." Creed turned to the beacon, gripping the fist tighter. "Override?" Kel asked. "No. We finish it." With a roar, Creed swung, the hammer connecting with the beacon, shattering its core, light exploding outward. The ship groaned, structure failing. "Extraction!" Kel shouted. "Now!" Creed ran, systems collapsing around him, flames chasing his steps. He leapt into the evac pod, the door sealing just as the dreadnought broke apart. Back on the Iron Revenant, he stood, bruised, bloodied, but standing. "The beacon?" Kel asked. "Destroyed." She exhaled, relief washing over her face. But the relief was brief. A new signal emerged. "Unknown origin," the tech officer reported. "Not Vexen." Creed's heart pounded. "Zorkai?" The signal grew, ancient and cold. A voice echoed through the ship, low and vast. "We have heard the call. We are coming." Silence fell. Kel's eyes met Creed's. "What now?" He looked out into the void, the weight of the galaxy pressing in. "Now we prepare for the real war." The bridge was silent. The signal still echoed, pulsing through every system, cold and final. Creed stood at the center, eyes fixed on the swirling void beyond. No one moved. The message had been brief, but its weight crushed the air from the room. "We have heard the call. We are coming." Kel stepped forward, voice low. "We don't even know what they are." "They're worse than the Vexens ever were," Creed answered. "They don't want control. They want absence." The tech officer's voice broke in. "New data. Multiple signatures at the edge of the Perseid expanse. Incoming vessels. Size unknown." Creed turned sharply. "ETA? 6 hours. That was too fast." "What about our fleet status?" "Scattered. Some are still regrouping near the mine core ruins. We won't have time to rally them. Prep all defensive systems." Kel moved beside him. "We've barely recovered from the last assault. We're not ready for this." "We don't have to be ready," Creed said. "We just have to make them bleed." He opened a channel, broadcasting across the Terran Accord. "This is Commander Dorian Creed. A new threat approaches. One greater than any we've faced. But hear me, this isn't the time to run. This isn't the time to fear. This is the time to remind the galaxy why they fear us." He cut the transmission, the room snapping back to motion. Orders flew, weapons systems charged, and shields flared to life. "Prepare the Helljumpers," Creed commanded. Kel raised an eyebrow. "You're deploying them already?" "They're the only ones who faced impossible odds and laughed." As the Iron Revenant turned toward the edge of known space, the first shapes appeared. Massive, shifting, like dark reflections of the void itself. No lights, no signals, just presence. "Visual on the enemy," the officer confirmed. Kel stared. "That's no fleet. That's something else." "They are the Zorkai," Creed said. "And they're here for us." The enemy didn't fire. It advanced, silent and slow. Then a shockwave. Not physical, but mental. A pressure. The crew staggered, clutching heads. "Psionic attack!" Someone yelled. Counter with neurosilence! Kel barked. The shields held barely. Creed's mind was clear, focused. He stepped toward the projection, looking into the dark. Open a channel. There was no reply. Just more pressure, more force. Creed clenched his fists. I know you hear me. Still silence. Then listen. He spoke, not loud, but with steel. You want to erase us. But we don't erase easy. We carve our names into history, into the stars, into every enemy we've crushed. You're not the first to try. You won't be the last. But if you want war... He drew his weapon, holding it high. You've got one. At that moment, the Zorkai struck. Energy rippled, reality bent, and the iron revenant shook under the force. Alarms blared, but the crew held. Return fire! Kel shouted. The cannons roared, beams slicing through the black. One of the Zorkai shapes faltered, shuddering, but did not fall. Direct hit. No significant damage, the tech reported. They bleed, Creed said. That's enough. Not enough to stop them. Then we hit harder. He turned to the ops station. Activate the Obsidian Protocol. Eyes widened. That'll kill us too. It'll kill them first. The Obsidian Protocol was Earth's last weapon, a device built not to win, but to deny. A collapsing singularity, seeded with quantum instability. A black hole, born from desperation. Prepare to launch. Kel grabbed his arm. There's no coming back from this. He looked at her calm. I never planned to. A beat passed. Then she nodded. Coordinates locked. The officer confirmed. Creed stepped to the console, his hand hovering over the command. The Zorkai advanced again, closer, their forms now clear, twisted, fluid, ever-changing. Fearless. We do this now, Creed said, voice hard. Or we don't do it at all. Signal all ships to retreat. Kel asked. He shook his head. They watch. They learn. Let them see how humans fight. He pressed the button. The obsidian payload launched, a flicker of light swallowed by the void. For a moment, everything was still. Then, reality split. A pulse, a wave, a hole tearing through space. The Zorkai twisted, caught, dragged toward the singularity. They fought, but the pull was too strong. One by one, they vanished, screaming without sound. The iron revenant shook, systems failing. We're caught in the pull! Kel yelled. Creed stood tall, watching as the enemy disappeared. All hands brace! The ship buckled, torn between destruction and survival. Lights flickered, hull plates sheared away. Then silence. The void calmed. The enemy was gone. Systems slowly returned, flickering back. We're alive, Kel whispered. Barely, Creed answered. A long pause. What now? She asked. He looked out, eyes steady. Now we rebuild. The war was over. But the memory remained.